We're living and we're live. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Living the Idea program. I'm your host Jordan Barker.
And I'm your other host Jackson Gast.
We're sponsored by the NU Idea Center and we're very happy to be coming at you from the Northwood University Aftermarket Club booth at the Frankenmuth Auto Fest. And we're joined by a professor today, Professor Kinney.
Thanks for having me.
You're the chair of the Aftermarket Management Program.
Yeah,
here?
so my official title at Northwood is the Northwood University Automotive Aftermarket Industry Chair.
Wow, that's
It's a mouthful. Yeah, that and $2 gets me a cup of coffee.
So can you tell us what we're doing here?
We're hanging out looking at cars. We're in Frankenmuth, Michigan, a little Bavaria, if you will. So we're here kind of promoting Northwood University, promoting both the Automotive Aftermarket curriculum and the Automotive Marketing curriculum. We're talking about auto show with people that are coming by, and we're just hanging out with some really cool cars.
I have to say, it sounds like you have a pretty cool job.
My job rocks. My job rocks. And I have two jobs. So I gotta put a plug in for my company. So in addition to what I do with Northwood, I'm also the director of global sales for a company called Auto Part International. And we're a small little part of a bigger company called Advanced Auto Parts. Yeah, so I always tell people the automotive aftermarket is anything you do to the vehicle after the license plates go on it, right? So it could be lifting a truck, it could be putting a supercharger on it, it could be all kinds of cool things you do to a car. The fun stuff. The fun stuff.
What makes you want to come and work at Northwood as well? What is it about Northwood?
What is it about Northwood? That's a great question. So I'm a Northwood alum. I grew up in the automotive aftermarket. I came to Northwood University in 1988. I'm older than some of your parents, but I came here to study the automotive aftermarket. And from there, I was propelled into an amazing career in automotive, and I've been doing it for 30 plus years.
Now, Professor Kinney, what are we looking at right here? What is this?
So this is a great example of our alumni dollars at work. So this is what we call the Project 100 car, and we had 100 alumni give $100 each. So they basically turned over $10,000 to our students based on a project that our students submitted. And for the aftermarket students a couple years ago, they had this great idea to bring back to life an old BMW. So this here's a BMW E30. And the students are 100% responsible for this car from front to back. They raised money by working with vendors like NGK Spark Plugs, Dorman Products, Spectra Premium, all kinds of companies that support them with either donations or product. And what the students get to do is they get to actually put their hands on aftermarket product and put it on the car.
That's awesome. Could you give us a little walk around of the car and show us what all the students have done to it?
Yeah, so first of all, this car's got a full body wrap on it. So it's actually white underneath. And as you come this way, you can see the engine's been redone. The students put a lot of time into that. They put coilovers on it. We've got aftermarket rims, aftermarket tires, all kinds of stuff inside. It's the beautiful thing about this car is it was never meant to be completed, right? This is a living, ongoing project with the students. So every year when we get new students that come into Northwood University and they want to learn about the aftermarket, how the aftermarket works, how manufacturers go to market, what their strategy is, they start working with these companies and we change things out, we make improvements to it, but it's supposed to be a living, breathing project, which is what makes it so great. So the students have a lot more work to do on this, but as you can see, they've come a long way from what the original pictures were.
Now, Kenny, how is it that you exactly got your passion for cars? What started your passion for automobiles?
So for me, cars are very much like rolling pieces of art, right? So my dad had a 1964 and a half Mustang.
Wow.
Right off the showroom floor when he was 16 or 17 years old. So I never got to ride in it because my parents got married young. We had my older brother. Then I came along and they got rid of the car.
Oh.
So my whole life, it's your fault, your fault, your fault. But we've always just loved seeing cars go down the road. And like this car here, I mean, this is an absolute beauty piece of art. I don't know how anybody can't look at a car like this and say, wow, that's gorgeous, right?
Right.
So I just love to look at cars. I'm not, the thing about the automotive aftermarket is you don't have to be technically savvy, right? You have to have a passion for vehicles, you have to have a passion for people, and you just kind of immerse yourself into it, right? And at Northwood, we're not teaching people how to wrench on cars. We're teaching people the business of the automotive aftermarket. And I think that's quite honestly where Northwood, across all of our majors, we separate ourselves from so many other universities because we're teaching the actual business that's going on in the world today.
And Professor Kinney, now big is the automotive aftermarket industry exactly? Because I know you're very passionate about the aftermarket and everything that goes along with it, but not many people know exactly just the true size.
Yeah, so to quote Donald Trump, it's huge. It's huge. No, here in the United States, it's about a $250 billion business. Globally, it's pushing towards $500 billion. And it's growing at a really significant clip. You've got emerging markets like China, in Africa, where new car sales are just starting to really ramp up. And so even India, right? You look at the amount of people who are finding this newfound wealth in foreign countries, and the first thing they want to do is replicate America and do what? Buy a car.
Right.
So that's why the aftermarket's here to stay, and there's so many cool things you can do with cars. I mean, this thing is a piece of art. You don't mess with this, but yeah, you can lift the truck, lower a truck, put lights on stuff, superchargers, turbos, all that kind of stuff, and enhance the performance of your vehicle. So that's the fun of the aftermarket.
And it's a market that will never go away, right?
No,
People
I know.
are always going to be looking to do something to their vehicles.
Yeah, I mean, people are constantly doing something. When you're 16 years old in this country and you get your first car, you want to soup it up, you want to put new rims on it, you want to put a spoiler on it, you want to do something to kind of make it your own. And I think that's the beauty of the aftermarket, is it allows you to do that, whether you're putting a new car stereo in it, or you're doing something cool, putting coilovers on it, or a new suspension. The aftermarket gives you a lot of creativity.
Now, Professor Kinney, you've broken down the aftermarket industry to us, but can you explain to us what kind of careers are actually in the aftermarket industry?
Yeah, so all kinds, right? So we can get into sales. If you want to make a lot of money, you go into sales. Marketing, product management, catalog management, accounting, finance, cybersecurity. You're a cybersecurity major, right? So that's a huge and up and coming field. Anything from product development to cataloging, package development, everything. So basically, any major that you can study in business, we need students like that in the aftermarket, because the truth be told, our industry is kind of aging out. So we're seeing, due to the pandemic, we're seeing a lot of people just taking retirement and moving on. So what we're really looking for, all these companies, whether it's Auto Value or it's Napa or Advance or any of the big companies, they're all looking for that next generation of leadership. And so there's a lot of opportunities for young people to get into the automotive aftermarket and have amazing careers.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned some of those big companies in the aftermarket industry. Can you tell us a little bit more about those companies?
Yeah, so we have all kinds of companies that support Northwood, and I can never do them justice. There's hundreds of companies out there that support us through scholarship money, that hire our students, provide internships for our students. But some of the big ones, NGK, Mala, Dorman Products, Tenneco, so part of the Drive company. Advanced Auto Parts does internships. Gates has always been a huge supporter of Northwood. But I'm forgetting so many, but Delphi is a huge supporter of ours. And so all of these companies, and I mean hundreds of these companies, understand that Northwood University is the aftermarkets university. And so whether it's undergraduate degrees, it's continuing ed for adult degree program, or if someone wants to get their MBA in business through the DeVos Graduate School, our industry understands that Northwood is the place that they can go to hire our students in any walk of life.
Yeah, it definitely seems like all those companies support Northwood and fully believe in what Northwood does with the aftermarket industry. But what we're looking at right here, it's kind of a different aspect of the aftermarket industry. It's more the stuff that's not put on the cars yet. Can you walk us around and maybe give us a tour of what's going on here?
So we're at AutoFest in Frankenmuth. So obviously we're talking, you got a lot of hot rods out here, a lot of classic cars, high mileage classic cars. But really what this weekend is about is appearance, right? So in this particular tent, which is the Auto Value tent, which you can see is pretty big, we've got a lot of wash and wax, a lot of polish, a lot of chamois, a lot of things to take care of the appearance of your vehicle. But there's things in here that you might not even think of, like floor mats and fuzzy dice, radiators, batteries, all kinds of stuff that people need to keep their cars on the road and keep them running really, really well. So that's all part of the aftermarket.
Now, Kinney, we've heard from a lot of our other guests about the Northwood Idea and how it relates to entrepreneurship, but how does it relate to the aftermarket? What's your interpretation of that?
Wow, that's a
very cool. And not a tough one.
No, so I knew nothing about the Northwood Idea when I was 17 years old. Wow. The Northwood Idea changed my life. It took a really immature young man and introduced me to some principles to live my life. And looking back now that I'm old, you forget how much of an impact Northwood has on you, for the better. The principles in which I live my life today, I learned at a young age, but I didn't know that much about them, right? Northwood helped me understand them, helped me apply them, taught me how to be a better person so I could be a husband and a father, a business person, a mentor. The Northwood Idea is so much about how to live your life. And obviously I'm choked up about it because you meet people along the way who have such a profound impact on your life. And for me, it was the professors and the people I met at Northwood University when I was your age. So, we talk a lot about being an entrepreneur at Northwood, but for me, it's about honesty, integrity, doing the right thing, taking full responsibility for my actions, right? It's about living my life by a certain creed and code that has helped propel me to being a pretty successful person in business, but in life, right? And so the Northwood Idea is this all-encompassing thing of, individual responsibility, individual freedom, things that unfortunately in this day and age, a lot of people are taking for granted, right? And so I don't know if I'm answering your question the way you're looking, but obviously it impacted me just from my reaction, right? The Northwood Idea is a way to live my life, to know that I'm setting a positive example for my children, and someday when I have grandchildren, and just to be a better person, right? It's about individual responsibility, accepting the consequences, both intended and unintended, and it's about just being a good person, right? And living my life free. And unfortunately, we don't have enough freedom right now. So,
yeah, no, you answered the question perfectly, Kinney, and we would just like to thank you for taking time out of your day to share a little bit about your history, your knowledge, your experience in the aftermarket program, and what you do here at Northwood, and showing us around the beautiful Frankenmuth Auto Fest. It's been a real pleasure having you on, and we really appreciate it. It's been awesome.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys, and if I can do anything for you, let me know. I still don't know what to do with my hands.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you stay on the lookout for the next episode of Living the Idea.